What's going on, everybody? Chaseontwowheels here at the shop. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we've got the Yamaha R7. And I'm curious, does this bike suck in city riding? We've talked about this before with the R7. Like, it is supposed to be all the coolness of the R6, but it has to have the usability of the MT-07. Now, the MT-07, I would argue, is a phenomenal city bike, but I'm curious, and in today's video, I hope to answer the question, can the R7 be good in the city? We're going to be testing that out today. We've got the camera car set up. We're going to be heading down to Atlanta, Georgia, and we're going to see how this thing is riding around the city all day, guys. If you guys are interested in R7 content, make sure to hit that like button so that we know to make as much of it as we possibly can while we have this thing on loan from Yamaha. And if you guys are interested in even more motorcycle content, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're not already. And without further ado, guys, let's get rolling and let's see what a supersport is like riding around the mean streets of Atlanta. Let's go. But guys, before we get to Atlanta, we have to take the highway to Atlanta. So part of our video is also going to be highway into a city, riding around the city and then leaving the city. That's what we're going to be riding through today. And hopefully that's going to give us some answers on how this motorcycle is in a downtown environment. So without further ado, let's get this video started. All right, guys, welcome to the city. Let's see how the R7 is. And guys, before we get into the heart of this city, we need to throw it to an ad because I would love to pay some bills and continue to have our camera car for this video. So let's talk about the sponsor real quick and we'll be in the city.
Guys, this video is sponsored by HelloFresh. For you guys that don't know, HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit. They make cooking at home fun, easy, and affordable. You just go on their site and pick out the sort of meals you'd like to be sent, and they send you the box with all the ingredients you need to make them so you don't have to do any shopping. HelloFresh offers a wide variety of quick meal options like 20-minute dinners or oven-ready pizzas. They also cut out stressful meal planning and prepping, so you can just enjoy cooking and get dinner on the table in about 30 minutes or even 20 minutes with their quick and easy options. So guys, I've been using HelloFresh and I gotta say the meals have been pretty awesome, even with me cooking them. The directions are super simple to follow and they turned out great. I really appreciate their whole sustainability thing. The majority of the bags you get are all recyclable, and with the pre-portioned ingredients, there's almost no food waste at the end of the day, so I don't feel like I'm wasting a ton of food. If you guys are ready to try out HelloFresh, then go over to HelloFresh.com and use code ChaseOnTwoWheels14 to get 14 free meals plus free shipping. That's ChaseOnTwoWheels14. You guys are gonna get 14 free meals plus free shipping. Thank you, HelloFresh, for sponsoring this video, and thank any of you guys that use that code. Without further ado, let's get back to the video.
So guys, first thing I'm noticing off the bat, we're off the highway, and it goes without saying, guys, getting to the city, totally gorgeous. I love the amount of power that the R7 has. As you guys can see through, or could see through our little montage clip, the R7 has absolutely no problem jumping through traffic. Having that reliable power band is very nice on the highway. It's that same thing we talk about when we were talking about in the mountains, you know, like it's a predictable power band. It's linear. You got power all over the place. You don't have to hunt for power. And man, when you're in downtown city traffic, like on the highway, you really have to be careful about a lot of stuff. So you're already thinking about a lot of things. So having power whenever you need it, regardless of what rev range you're in, it's super nice and honestly makes it riding a lot easier when you're in busy traffic and, you know, you're distracted looking at other things that could kill you, you know, like the other cars. Oh, look at that. Let's get this info going. Looks like the fan just cut on. That's the air temperature is 111, 222 the bike's at. You know, I'm not going to lie to you guys. It's hot as hell today. As you can see, the bike's already, the fans are already kicking on. But I got to be honest, the bike is not really that hot right now. Like, obviously, I'm hot because of the sun and all. The engine is not burning my leg at any certain point or the crotch or anything like that. So, whatever the heat dispersion is going on, doing a really good job. And that's something that really sucks in city riding, because a lot of the stuff you're not going very fast, so the bike tends to heat up pretty quickly. So that's awesome that the R7 does such a good job of cooling itself down, and wherever the heat's coming out at, I don't specifically feel that in one concentrated place. Like if you take something like a Panigale to a city setting, you're going to be miserable. You're also not going to be able to feel your legs, because they're going to be burnt to hell. But so far with the heat of the R7, doing a fantastic job. Really happy with that. That would deter me. Honestly, that would be a big deterrent if I'm going to buy a motorcycle or not for this type of riding, for sure. Man, as we sit here at a red light, one thing that I really appreciate on this bike, you guys know in the city setting, you're going to be stopping and going all the time. And having a smooth brake and a bike that can get into neutral really well, because like, look, I'm at a stop sign. God knows how long I'm going to be here. I'm going to get in neutral. Lots of traffic. I'm gonna have to get back in first. There's lots of gear shifting from first to neutral, and having a motorcycle that clicks into neutral well, God, because that frustrates you so much. Like low key, I'll lose my mind if the bike I'm on. I'm already in the city. I'm hot. I don't really like. This is not enjoyable riding on a motorcycle. It is what it is, But nobody buys a bike to enjoy city riding, especially not a super sport. And having a bike that has a problem getting into neutral, bro, that gets so frustrating. So, loving the gearing. I've liked the gearing on the MT-07 and the R7 a lot while we've had it. But in this situation, it's not really the entire gearbox. It's just being able to get into the neutral. So valuable. So far, R7's doing a phenomenal job. So, guys, we've been sitting at this red light for what seems like forever. And it does seem like I'm getting a little heat on my right calf, and I honestly mean just a little bit. Bike's still at 212, and if that's the main heat I'm getting, because the fans are on, so hypothetically the bike's going to start cooling down, that's not bad. I could take that. That R6 used to burn me alive when I lived downtown. Giant pothole. All right, finally get some air under us. Thank Lord. You guys, when you go over a crappy road like this, I honestly recommend just standing up on the bike. You don't got to stand really high up on the bike. That's where the suspension of this motorcycle, it is supposed to be a little sportier, especially the way we have it set up. And that sportier suspension is going to be harder. It's going to give you more traction, but it's going to make you feel every bit of the road. And when you're in a city setting, from what I've seen, most city settings, the road conditions are just terrible, and they're just bumpy. It does make it a little harder being on a motorcycle like this in this body position. My wrists aren't hurting too bad yet, but I'm willing to bet they're going to hurt by the end of this video. But that's going to be one of the downfalls of this motorcycle. And this is motorcycles like this. The R7 is going to be just like all your other super sports. You're going to have a harder suspension setup, and that's going to make you feel every one of these bumps. And man, they're all over the place. You're going to have to be dealing with that the entire ride. So just keep that in mind if you plan on riding your super sport around. Look at this. Look at all that. It's just part of it, man. You got to make that decision, though. It's part of being in the city. Guys, in our Learn to Ride series, we talked about how riding in the city takes so much more energy and focus with what you're doing. This is one of the times that having a really easy to ride motorcycle is super helpful, and it honestly, it's safer. Because right now, riding through this downtown, my eyes are going all over the place. I've got so many things to think about. And in a position like this, where I'm on a motorcycle that's very easy to ride, it doesn't have a strong power band at any point in time. It's just got good, consistent throttle throughout. Throttle's easy to pull. Shifts well. A bike that's easy to ride is going to allow you to not have to focus so much on riding, and you're going to be able to focus on all the other things you've got going on. Because as you guys can just watch, as we're riding around, there is just a magnitude of like 100 more things that I as a rider am focusing on. For all I know, somebody could jump out from behind that fence and run across the road. I need to have my brakes covered. I need my fingers on my clutch ready to go just in case. It's a lot of just in case stuff because it's such a more chaotic riding experience. So that's why I really prefer easy to ride bikes. I will say, doing all this maneuvering around like we're doing, it is a little more complicated and hard to do. on a bike that is like the R7's body position. I'm leaned over, you know, and this body position is more made for a race setting where I'm able to put my weight into a turn, or I'm able to tuck behind this windscreen. You're actually at a disadvantage from this body position. If you are buying a bike for the city, I could not push you guys to the naked market. For Yamaha, that's their MT series, but bikes like that are going to be so much better equipped for city riding because you're going to be upright and you can maneuver it better. The R7, it's made for you to maneuver it by leaning into a turn. You're not leaning into turns here in the city. You're just, you know, slow speed, regular steering. Look at that. Just that person just jumped this lane for no reason, but I have to be ready for it. That's one thing I was talking about, where you always got to be ready for God knows what to happen, you know? We've got a good amount of power. If something happens, boom, we can jump into that other lane and be gone. It's one thing I love about the power delivery on this R7 is you've got it whenever you need it. Another thing to keep in mind, guys, not for you guys that read spec sheets, but the R7 does have a lighter feel than the R6. I don't know if it's because of where Yamaha put the weight on the R7, but in these city settings, you're going to be maneuvering a lot, and it is going to be harder on a bike like this, but the R7 is very light and maneuverable. So the maneuvering you do have to do, I feel like the R7's about as good of a job, or does as good of a job as you can really ask for a super sport level body position. You know, it's very light on the handlebars. I feel like I can flick it around. I have a lot of weight on the handlebars just because, you know, in the city, you don't get a lot of opportunities to ride like you're supposed to and hold your weight with your knees on your gas tank. There's a lot of wrist hold, which is not ideal, but it does help to have a bike that feels a little more lighter, a little more maneuverable. I do gotta say, I've been pretty impressed with the mirrors down here. Now, a lot of you guys know motorcycle mirrors just suck, but these mirrors have been doing a pretty good job. I gotta do a lot of head checks, but I don't think I've had a problem where I couldn't see a car in the lane that I wanted to get into, which is really nice. I will say the head checks are a little harder. You gotta look harder over your shoulder, and being in this lean forward body position doesn't really help you do that. But I've ridden bikes that have been much worse than this. Oh, sorry, BMW, we're gonna jump in front of you. Good solid brakes. We got ABS just in case. You know, guys, something else I'm thankful for with this bike, the clutch lever is super light. Doesn't take a lot of energy to pull that clutch in, and with this real stop and go process that you're doing when you're in a city, it's red lights after stop signs after stop signs after red lights. You're using your clutch a lot, especially when you get into traffic, and that can really tire out your clutch hand or your clutch fingers. And so far, what I've noticed is the clutch is really light. You know, my fingers aren't feeling fatigued at all from usage. Now, granted, if we get into some traffic, that'd be the true test. But, you know, we've been in and out of traffic today, and I'm really not noticing much of a problem. My fingers aren't tired at all, and we've been using the hell out of this clutch. So, guys, this is a perfect opportunity that I was talking about with the clutch. Like, look at this traffic. Absolutely garbage, but somehow my clutch hand's not feeling bad at all. I've honestly had the time, guys, where I've ridden in downtown settings where I had a bike with a heavy clutch, and dude, you have to like pull over, like your fingers start cramping up. Like it can get bad if you're in enough traffic. So that light clutch helping out a lot. What's not helping out a lot is this body position, man. My wrists are killing me, which I kind of expected that, but hopefully we can get out of this traffic soon. They can get a little better. One nice thing about riding in the city, though, is if you have a city with a lot of big buildings like we're in right now, we're in Atlanta, Georgia, and all the buildings, they block the sun. So while it does feel a little hotter in the city generally, the buildings will block some of that direct sun, which is what really gets you warmed up. You know, guys, one thing that I was expecting to be a little worse was my butt. I was expecting my butt to be in some pain today. But so far, it hasn't really been that bad. And we've been doing a lot of sitting. I'm sure you guys might have seen our riding the R7 on the highway, and that got fatiguing for sure. But I've been riding for at least 4 hours today so far, and my butt's not really that bad. And I'm thinking that's because I keep getting into red light, and I get into red light, hit neutral, and I kind of get to sit back in the seat. There's some good news for the body position. Pigeon! Good God. Pigeon almost in moving time. Good Lord, man. Oh my God. Oh my God. Hey, if you go over them faster, they hurt less, right? No, that is not a true statement. The bumps just suck. It's just a fact of life. Man, it's so nice when you get an open stretch and you can just like let your wrist rest. Look at this guy on this Can-Am living his best life. Yes, my guy. All right, I think I'm going to call that a day, guys. I've been down here for a few hours at this point, and I gotta say, my main thing that's fatiguing me physically right now is my wrists, which is surprising. I don't think my wrist would have been the highlight of this, but you know, this body position, like I was saying, very race oriented. Your weight is on top of you up front, and you just don't get a lot of opportunities to just go in your wrist to take a break, kind of like we are right now. Like my wrists are totally fine right now, but in a city setting, you don't have a lot of riding like this, so it leads to a lot of fatigue on your wrists, and that's because of the body position of the R7, not so much the bike itself, but the style of bike that this is. And to kind of wrap the video up, I kind of wanted to just do a summation of like, is the R7 a good city riding bike, and can you ride it around the city? Now the answer to can you ride it around the city, of course, you can ride any bike around the city, but do I recommend this for city riding? If that is all you are doing, honestly guys, there are 1,000 better motorcycles than a super sport class bike for city riding. That body position is what's going to lead to it, the majority of what leads to it being a bad bike for the city. You just don't have the maneuverability that you have on other styles of bikes. Now, what I can say is, after riding the R7 in the city, for somebody that maybe lives in the city and you're going to be riding a bike around the city a lot, but you're also going to be doing some more technical riding, maybe you're going to go, you know, do some technical roads, maybe do a track day, can the R7 do the city comfortably? You know, as long as your commute is just like a 30 minutes to an hour and a half riding around, I don't think you'll have a problem at all. Maybe you're riding to class and back and stuff like that. I think the R7, of all the super sports that I've ever ridden, the R7 is heads and tails above any of those, because they all have terrible body positions, right? All the Gixxer 600, the CBR 600, Kawasaki ZX6R, all these motorcycles are going to have the same body position as this R7 does. You're very leaned over, your wrists are going to hurt on all of them. The big differentiator is how smooth the R7 is and how it lays the power down. It makes it so easy to ride, which is, it makes it so I get less frustrated while riding downtown. It's a lot easier for me to ride. I have power when I need it. My clutch is easy to pull. I think of the super sports, the R7 takes the cake on. If I had to have one of these for city riding, I would pick this one without a shadow of a doubt, like honestly. All in all, guys, I think the R7, I can happily say, is the best super sport you can have for city riding. Now as we exit the city, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to hit that like button if you guys learned something in our video today. Make sure to subscribe if you like motorcycle content, because we make a ton of it here on the Chaseontwowheels channel. And we'll see you guys on the next one as I slot into traffic. Outro crew, my buddies, what's up? Thank you guys so much for getting to the end of the video. If you are here listening to me still, that means you're in the outro crew, which means you made it to the end of the video. So do a couple things for me. Hit that like button and drop me a comment in the video that lets me know, would you guys buy a super sport for city riding? I hope I've convinced you to not, but if I haven't, let me know why you would buy a super sport, even if you just live in the city. Leave that in the comments down below. And guys, when you make a comment, make sure to put OC in your comment. It confuses everybody watching, because they're all like, what's OC mean? And we all get to look at those comments like, oh, you didn't make it to the end of the video. All right, guys, we love you guys just a little bit longer. We'll see you on the next one. Later.